So now for our next session, how to raise capital for your next venture. I would like to introduce to you Deepak Shahdadpuri, founder and managing director, DSG Consumer Partners, and Kapil Chopra, chief executive officer, the Postcard Hotel. Hi, Kapil, how are you?
Hi, Sanaya, how are you? How are things?
All well.
Yeah, Deepak.
Hey, Kapil, how are you?
I'm very good, Deepak. Good to see you in a jacket, man. Welcome to a hotel conference.
Just for you.
So great. For all those people who do not know Deepak, Deepak is, I think, one of the foremost authorities, if I may say, on food investing in India. You must have heard of Mocha Cafe, Smokehouse Delhi. Deepak was, an investor there and a part of a different fund called Bear Capital. Then Sula Wines, a 20-year-old journey of Sula Wines. Deepak was an investor there. Deepak's been an investor in my company, Easy Diner. Means even I was at that time thinking if online table reservations would work. So just been ahead of the curve. And I remember one Sunday I had a 1-hour discussion on organic atta with Deepak, and his knowledge on organic atta will take you out on market shares of how much market share Shakti Bhog atta has. I think Deepak also doesn't remember that conversation, but it's absolutely amazing.
I do remember that conversation.
Yeah. So I think if you were talking about ice creams, if you're talking about pickles, if you're talking about sauces, Viva sauces, Epigamia yogurt, Raw Pressery, Easy Diner, Chai Point, Smokehouse Delhi, the Impresario Group, Suzette, salad leaf, Deepak in Bombay, salad leaf, salad bowl. What is it called?
Kitchen Garden.
Kitchen Garden in Mumbai. So pretty much in F&B, I don't think anybody understands F&B more than Deepak. Big wine connoisseur, big foodie. Doesn't look like it. Very fit guy. But absolute pleasure to have you here, Deepak. And I will start straight. Let's look at the backdrop of this operations conference this time. The backdrop of the operations conference this time is just look at the number of job cuts that have happened in the industry. It means in India, because of lack of government support, whether it's restaurants, whether it's hotels, people have lost jobs. I see some of the most talented chefs sitting at home. I see some great hotel professionals, not being on the job. And in that background, I wanted to ask you questions on what you're seeing or what are you looking at. So Deepak, let's go back a couple of decades. When you put money into Sula, I remember the first, I think when you had was 3 acres under cultivation. Today it's over 2,000 acres. Means, did you really think Indians are going to drink wine?
I think let's go back, right? Sula was a 2004 investment. So I've been on the board for 16 years. And my first trip to India as an adult was only in 1998. So I mean, I was out of India for most of my life. I was born in Singapore. And I did not come to India for 16 years. I showed up in 1998 as part of a business school trip. And it was my first insights into India. And one of the first few people I met was Rajiv Samant. He had just come back from California, and he had just had the idea of starting Sula. Sula hadn't started yet. And I quickly learned many things about India, which brought me back to India many times, which was a young, dynamic country. 1.3 billion people, rapid urbanization, and the way technology had evolved, particularly the internet and how the digital world was evolving. Every Indian was watching the same stuff that anyone in the US or UK, Australia or Paris was watching. And what I do as an investor is I watch mega trends. So these are trends that sort of consumer trends that are global in nature. They could start in any part of the world, and they spread and they surge and they last for 10, 20, 30 years. And one of the things we noticed in the late 90s was this big movement or demand for experiential living. Okay, people want to live better, live healthier, live longer. When they watch TV, they see people drinking wine, they want to drink wine. And India, given how expensive imports were, wines were expensive. In fact, most of the wine coming into India in the late 90s or early 2000 was either very good wine, which was very overpriced, or very cheap wine, which was awful. And our view was, as Indians or the younger millennial Indians started drinking for the first time, there would be some aspiration to drink a lighter alcohol beverage, which was wine in our view. And our view also was that the first time women drinkers would prefer something lighter, not spirit, not a beer. And we have seen that same trend in South Africa and the same trend in South America, in Chile. So our thesis was it would play out in India. Who knew it would be right or wrong? But that's worked out really well. So look at long-term trends, find a fantastic entrepreneur like Rajiv. The product has to be very good, but it's a bet we took, and it's a bet that sort of played out very well.
Okay, and Deepak, so coming from that question, what are the a lot of young hoteliers, a lot of chefs watching this right now, a lot of people who just been worked all their lives, 15 years in a hotel, did the best they could, and just suddenly one day they got a call. Means I know one of my batchmates who's just been laid off 3-4 months back after working 25 years in the group, and just out of the blue, I met him and he says, I didn't even get a farewell. So suddenly people have been jolted out of their comfort zones, and they've been in comfort zones for a long time. So what are the 2, 3, 4 mega trends you see in F&B right now that hoteliers and chefs and everybody could just pick up and say, if I kind of start following this trend, because one, I'm very passionate about it, but two, this is fundable. This trend can attract venture capital, and I can actually build a big sustainable business.
So I won't give you 2 or 3 trends. Let me give you 5 or 6 trends that are sort of coming together. There's no 1 or 2 trend. These are very different trends that sort of collide. Let me give you one. Number one, which you have to remember, that the consumer and the world is very much more digital than it ever used to be, which means if you're starting a new business, it's much easier to reach a consumer today. You do not need to be on TV. You do not need to be on radio. You do not need the 10s and 20s of crores to start a brand. Very important. So it's a level playing ground. Trend number 2 is huge focus on health and wellness. This has been a trend that's been playing out since, I would say, the late 90s, but COVID-19 has just highlighted it. People are much more aware.
I lost you, Deepak.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry. Yeah.
I'm saying the big trend that we are playing is health and wellness. It's been a trend that's been playing for the last 15 years, but COVID-19 has just sort of accelerated the pace, because what you consume, what you put on your skin, people are asking the question, is it good for me? Is it good for my immunity? What will it do? The third big trend is functionality. When people eat something or use something, why? Will it make my hair shiny? Will it make my skin younger? It's a big thing, as you think about the trends that are playing out. Number 4, people want to possess less. They want to experience more. So ownership, people are not hoarding watches and hoarding gold anymore. They want to go on holidays. They want to eat at restaurants. They want to meet someone. So experiences is a big part of what consumers ask for. Number 5, personalization. Products are now, you and I should not be using the same shampoo, nor should we be using the same skin cream, because there's enough technology that says Mr. Chopra's skin is of a particular type, Mr. Deepak's is slightly different. So why should we be buying the same product from the same manufacturer? So think of all these trends that are sort of colliding together. And there's so much you can do. Today, because of COVID-19 and because people have got used to direct to consumer, anyone, any chef, any entrepreneur can start a business at home or in a home kitchen, something he's ideally passionate about, spend literally nothing much on marketing, and start doing product market fit. You can launch a product, launch a pilot, and within the first 14 days, you can quickly tell whether people are buying your product or not. So I think it's a unique opportunity. Consumers are giving first-time entrepreneurs a chance. And it's a real opportunity for anyone to follow their dream, build a product that they're very, very passionate about, but keeping in mind the 6 or 7 big mega trends. If you can sort of build a product that builds in functionality, health and wellness, experiences, and personalization, I think you're more than halfway to building a successful business.
Great points, Deepak. Coming on from there, means what are the 3 things that you would be looking for in India? Now let all the trends converge. So you've got an investment team which is always looking at ideas and saying, who's doing the best bars, or who's doing the best ice cream, or who's doing the best cheese. So what are the 3-4 things that you are actually looking and saying, I'm not seeing great stuff in that category in India right now, but I think the category is open and virgin.
Okay, number one on our list is plant protein. We believe demand for plant protein is going to explode globally, and we expect that to happen in India. People are, for health or non-health reasons, are saying we want to eat less meat or no meat. We want to eat less fish or no fish, and we don't want to consume milk. Suddenly, there's huge demand for anything that replicates meat or seafood or eggs or dairy. So we spend a lot of time looking at businesses focused on this area. All our existing businesses, whether it's raw pressery or epigamia, have launched or will be launching a sort of a plant-based version of their core product. For example, right in the middle of COVID, in the last week of May, Epigamia launched India's first vegan yogurt. So no dairy, with probiotics.
I tried it. Coconut milk.
Coconut milk, right?
Milk, yeah.
So we
I tried it,
experimented with cashew, we experimented with almonds, we experimented with oats. We decided on coconut because that's what the focus groups told us that the Indian palate would do. So number one is—
So give me a, sorry to interrupt, but give me a global example of a great plant protein company and you say, wow, what a great job they've done.
Oatly. Oatly is the global market leader in oat milk. It's a 12-year-old company. Started in Malmo in Sweden. It is now valued at $2 billion. And it has 4 SKUs until recently. This year it launched other SKUs. Up till last year, it had original, chocolate, barista edition, or there are 3 SKUs. He built a business worth $2 billion, making 3 products at 3 plants around the world. He was early because the founder's view was, we shouldn't be sort of— his underlying thesis was cow's milk was not invented for human consumption. So why are we as humans drinking cow's milk? So let me produce a product from a plant that gives you the mouth feel and texture of milk. Simple hypothesis. It's more sustainable, less greenhouse gases, and he's built a phenomenal story. I think that trend is going to carry on for different reasons. Many people will do it because they are we want to be healthy, no red meat, or we don't want to eat, or we are lactose intolerant. But the bigger group who are going into plant proteins are the people who are focused on the planet and sustainability. They just think that having that many animals are just not good for the environment.
Okay. So the great idea. That was one. And you said you'll give me 2 more. Yeah.
So that's plant protein. On number 2 is, I think, the most obvious one, which everyone talks about, is impossible meat. So impossible meat is, I guess, if you've traveled anywhere, I don't know if it's available in India or not, is a sort of a looks like a minced beef. It's being served across the world at 5-star Michelin restaurants, all the way to the Burger King and McDonald's. It was sort of the thesis behind that business was, why are we harming animals? Let's build a plant-based product that replicates meat. So many consumers do not like that. It looks like beef. When you barbecue it, it's got the red signio inside. But again, very, very big business, very, very quickly answering one part of the vegan environment. And the third one, I would say there are probably about 400 well-funded startups who are doing everything from— think of any animal. If you want seafood, if you want prawns, if you want crab, for each particular sort of animal
meat type,
there is an alternative being developed. Okay, so too many examples to go through. And then the underlying question between them is, do you go for something which is 100% plant-based, or do you go for something which is sort of lab-based, where you culture a cell? As a fund, we have been steering away from lab-based because the FDA and the regulations around lab-based is still unclear, and we are very much focused on people developing it from plants.
Deepak, in terms of simple things that, let's say you're a 5-star hotel chef, just been laid off. What are the 2-3 things that they can do? What would you advise them? Now they're sitting at home. There are no jobs.
I'll give you an example. So he wasn't a 5-star restaurant chef. He was the number 2 chef in a very good restaurant in Singapore. His restaurant got shut down because it was shut for 3 months, couldn't survive. He was passionate about making tiramisu. He started a business making only tiramisu at home. He had 3 tiramisus. He had original tiramisu, he had a matcha tiramisu, and he had an amaretto tiramisu. He only does it on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. He only markets on Instagram. He only makes 30 of each per day on those 3 days. So he has 90 units for sale. 270 units for sale every weekend, and he sold out at least 3 weeks in advance. Fantastic product.
Wow.
Fantastic product. Okay, that's a real income, and he's passionate about it. And I can give you example of not only chefs, just anyone who's at home today. And what's changed? 2 things. Number 1 is Instagram lets you reach consumers very, very cost effectively. And more importantly than that, because of COVID in Singapore, Singapore had a weird rule. They forced many shops to shut. Essential services could stay open. Bakeries had to shut. So bakeries were specified as you cannot open. If you're selling cakes, you cannot open. So suddenly anyone who wanted to order a cake had no choice but to order online. And suddenly we all discovered, you know what, it's fun to order online. We can order from place A on Monday, place B on Tuesday, place B on Wednesday. It comes to your house. There's no going out. So suddenly there's a huge new channel that allows new entrepreneurs to test their products.
Okay, great. So tell me, if you had to, and I know it's a rightly, right now a slightly tricky point, but if you had to put money into a F&B chain, so I'm trying to open up a restaurant. Everybody wants to open up a restaurant, very tough business. Would you, you've been one of the biggest backers of restaurant chains in this country more than anybody else, and still are. But would you put money into a restaurant chain today?
It's tough. It's tough.
Why?
See, my answer is yes and no. So I've been anti-cloud kitchens from day one. And so far I've been wrong, because cloud kitchens seem to be thriving, and they've sort of really done well during COVID. For me, especially in the Indian context, eating out is not about sustainability. People don't go out and eat because they need to fill a stomach. They go out because it's entertainment and it's an experience. So having that whole full service in a restaurant, be it a Burger King or a masala library or an Indian accent, you want to be part of that experience. On the other side of the equation, having invested in a few restaurant chains in India, is labor is tough, landlords are tough, the municipality rules on opening hours, shutting hours, liquor laws are tough.
Okay.
So actually scaling and running a restaurant is
I'll turn it around. Yeah.
Okay.
So, no, I understand. So I'll turn it around. So tell me, would you back a coffee startup? I know you've already backed Sleepy Owl.
We've backed Sleepy Owl.
But do you think coffee can be backed as a category?
Again,
overall?
Yes, for me, so if coffee comes in part of the larger beverage market, the beverage market continues to grow. You and I consume a large number of beverages a day. Some of them are made at home, some of them are purchased in. Coffee is a fast-growing beverage. Problem with coffee is it's very, very, very competitive, because the beans are the beans. If you know your beans, most of the Indians coffee startups sort of procure the beans from the same 3 or 4 suppliers. The most is small. So what you're really selling is the brand and what the brand stands for. If you look at India today, there's a third wave coffee, there's Blue Tokai, there's Sleepy Owl. So when we looked at the space and we said, how do we differentiate ourselves? So we said, let's work with Sleepy Owl. And what is not available in India? Before we launched, there was no concept of a ready to drink cold brew coffee. There was cold brew available at a cafe, but you could not go into a kirana shop or a supermarket to buy an Indian-made. So we said, why don't we position Sleepy Owl as India's pioneer in cold brew coffee, which is a totally different product. It never touches heat. It's seeped. It's brewed for 22 hours. And that was the story we built as the pioneers in that space. Okay.
Do you think, now look at Burger King, or you look at what Chipotle did in the US, or you look at McDonald's and a lot of these experiences. Do you think biryani can be the new burger from India? Why don't we have great biryani outlets in the US like a chain? If burgers could come to India and if pizza could come to India, you think biryani does not have that same?
So let me give you my view. And most people think my view is incorrect. Most of the successful chains were very, very, very convenient for eating on the go and on the move. A burger, a pizza, a sandwich. And I've been pitched a lot of biryani products, and some of the brands I like the product. But to me, biryani is you got to sit somewhere at a desk, or you got to be at home or in the office to consume it. My view to be a Chipotle, every brand you mentioned is the product you could eat while you're sitting in a car, on a bus, on a train. So from that perspective, I said, you know what, if I want to invest in something which is QSR, fast moving, on the go, it literally has to be fast moving on the go. Biryani as a product does not fit that description for me.
Okay, great. Okay, and just tell me, what would you think about jams, preserves? Look at what Kensington's did in the US, artisanal ketchup. And what about that space? I know you are in the Viva space, but what about jams and preserves?
To be fair, Viva is in that space. I think that space is, I've been excited about that space for the last decade. I'm even more excited. I think what's changing and what we all have to keep in mind on this call is that what COVID has done has literally changed how people will behave in the coming decades, right? People will be working from home. There's the concept of a home office. Many of us will never go back to the office in the same rate we used to. Okay, people are cooking much more at home. So having the condiments, having preserves, having good quality ingredients are going to be key. I know the question you asked earlier, what should chefs be doing? Think of products that are in the kitchen cupboard. I think anything that can be a must-have in the kitchen cabinet is going to be
Spices.
a huge opportunity. Ready to cook,
Yeah, spices. Yeah.
Anything, but think of quality. Do not be the 7th ketchup company making the same ketchup. If you're doing amazing artisanal jams somewhere from the north, and you're making it, make it different, charge a premium. That's how you build a brand. Don't be in a rush.
Okay. So, and Deepak, last question.
Yes, sir.
Frozen food. Do you think frozen food has a good potential? Because a lot of people are doing frozen 9 months cooked, 9 months shelf life, and being served in hotels also. What is your view on that?
I think frozen as a category is underexploited in India, both B2B and B2C. The quality of frozen food and frozen food technology has improved. And as more people have larger freezers at home, I think you're going to see a huge, huge surge over time in frozen food. But think again, do not think of frozen food as low quality, whatever I cannot sell in the market, I'll freeze. Think about building high quality products, which are convenient, which will not be consumed every day, but will be consumed once or twice a week in a hectic urban Indian's lifestyle.
Okay. Thank you, Deepak Shahdadpuri. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much. And hopefully next time I'll see you in person.
Yeah, and see you in person. And I think this is a lot of learning for, I think, everybody who's listening to this session on how actually they can build world-class products even sitting at home. All is not lost. There's a lot to do. Thank you, Deepak. Thank you, HOSI.
Thank you, Kapil. Thank you, Sanya. Thank you. Bye-bye.